Almost 20 years ago, one goal connected two congregations to create a place their kids and grandkids could have a Christ-centered education.
Got a story in Lutheran Witness one time. They called it the school that love built.
First, before we got started on it, there was times, we looked at it, boy, it's a lot of money, this and that.
Yeah, the goal of both churches was to get as much work done as possible with volunteer labor, of course, to keep the costs down.
Anytime you look in construction, you're looking at dollars. And, how are we going to make this work?
The next problem is where are we going to build it? Are we going to build it at St. Peter? Are we going to build it at Emmanuel? And, we talked about that, looked at different options, maybe to find some ground. And in the end, gentleman, Bob Lehrman, came to us and said, I've got 10 acres you guys can have. When that happened, that just kind of, from that point on, it just seemed like we're ready to go now.
Things like that, when we thought we couldn't do something and then somebody steps forward or something, little miracles, I think,
I think everybody felt that, I will sacrifice a little bit to get this done. That new car that I wanted, maybe I'll put it off just a little longer and put an extra $1,000 or $2,000 in this project. And
that was something that was kind of overwhelmingly put forth, was the fact that it wasn't just having a Lutheran school today, it was providing Lutheran education tomorrow. And I think that was one thing that kind of spurred people on, this works now, what's going to work tomorrow?
As we were building the project, it was interesting because people in the area out there, being rural, most of the guys especially, over a period of time, they may never build a school, but they built a garage. And the SBI school is just a huge garage. It's just more pieces to it.
Everybody had a role. You didn't have to have anything. Didn't have to do a whole big project if you could just play a role, and whether it was once or whether it was 100 times.
In many respects, people's own donation of time, their talent, that was a deposit in their own type of endowment, and that's what made this thing work. Dollars buys bricks, but we had people laying them, and that made a difference.
6 or 8 people would show up, or supposedly that's how many was called, and you might have a dozen or 15. So it seemed like through the whole project, rarely was there not a situation where we didn't have enough people. It seemed like there was always more than enough people volunteering.
And we had people there all times of day and night. Some would come in the morning, some would come in the afternoon. We had people in the evenings down there doing jobs and stuff like that. And,
I think the guiding support back then was, it's not necessarily enough to have your children have an education. It was for the next generation to have their chance.
Well, in the end, with all the labor that was saved by volunteered labor on doing a lot of the work, we ended up, basically doing everything we wanted to do with the gym floor, the wood gym floor, and also an asphalt parking lot.
It was interesting and it was heartwarming to see all of that labor and talent and donations come together. I remember being touched almost to the point of being choked up when we were putting the roof on. How many people were on the roof at one time when we were putting the roof on the school?
It would put an Amish barn raising to shame.
Yeah, I don't know if there were 40 people up there or not. I really don't. But from both congregations, just that many men on a Saturday met at the school, and they were just covering the roof, and it was just touching.
None of what you see today was guaranteed. All of it was built on faith.
Right now, I think we have a very nice school. We got, and both churches are really good, but I think what we need to do is make sure that we can continue with what we have, keep what we have, and not lose it. Well, I think an endowment would be important because it would help guarantee financial stability for the school.
In a lot of ways, to be able to get some kids into the school, having an endowment might help them to be able to bring them to the school.
The whole purpose behind an endowment is to give because you're able and willing and committed. Sometimes you got to recognize that God's will is you working. It's not going to be given.
Now it's our turn. The Endowment Fund is our way of continuing the dream our past generations had for us, a Christ-centered education for all.